This is not about getting Joe Biden in trouble. This is about proving that Donald Trump was framed by the Democrats.
After Rudy was on all his shows yesterday, word went out that apparently the Biden campaign said to the network, stop booking Rudy on your shows. Or could a campaign surrogate get equal time if he's booked? Big question is, why doesn't Joe Biden just follow?
Right.
He probably has a lot to say. It's a good opportunity for him.
Do campaigns have the power and the ability to tell a network who they can and can't book?
Right.
No.
Let's talk to Newt Gingrich, former Speaker of the House, Fox News contributor, and he writes a free newsletter available at gingrich360.com. Mr. Speaker, good morning.
Good morning.
Why do you think Joe Biden's team wants Rudy off TV?
Look, I think they're probably panic-stricken because Rudy Giuliani can talk as a lawyer about what happened with Hunter Biden getting $600,000 a year from a Ukrainian natural gas company when his only credential was being the vice president's son, and then the vice president himself being on videotape saying that he basically blackmailed the Ukrainian government with $1 billion in U.S. aid, which he was going to take away if they didn't fire the prosecutor looking at his son's company. So I think they are, every time they see Giuliani on TV, they know that he's not only helping Trump, but he's doing, I think, substantial damage to Joe Biden's candidacy. And I suspect they're just desperate. I mean, it's actually pretty weird for a presidential campaign to think that they can dictate to the networks who they're allowed to have on. I mean, even incumbent presidents, whether it's Obama or Bush or, or Trump, don't really believe they can pressure the networks about individual guests. So I think it tells you how panic-stricken the Biden team is.
So, yeah, I was just very glad at the last minute that Biden's okayed your appearance, so we were allowed to keep you booked because I was going to have to cancel you. So there's a couple of things got to take place. And you just tell me how damaged you think it could be. When Pompeo gets subpoenaed, when Rudy gets subpoenaed, when they start asking for the Vladimir Putin conversation, when all this stuff goes behind closed doors in front and center, not only will this swamp all 2020 nominees, but it could swamp the president. If you're the president, how concerned are you?
Well, look, I don't think he's particularly concerned about actually being impeached and convicted. I don't think that's going to happen. But what you're watching is a legislative coup d'etat. This is not an impeachment. And we ought to quit talking about it as though it was an impeachment. I mean, Pelosi and every Democrat knows they're going to vote to get rid of Donald Trump. They wanted to get rid of Donald Trump on election night. They tried for 2 years to get rid of Donald Trump using the Russian deal, and when that collapsed on them and they looked like they were stupid when Mueller reported, they had to find a new gimmick. This is the new gimmick. But this has nothing. Impeachment is about whether or not something happened of sufficient weight that the president should be taken out of office. This has nothing to do with that. This is a rush to judgment by left-wing Democrats who are engaged in literally a coup d'etat. Their goal is to drive the president of the United States out of office because they hate him. Now, I don't think partisan hatred comes under high crimes and misdemeanors, and I think it tells you how sick the Democrats are that they're prepared to stake so much. And people like Adam Schiff who are just plain liars. I mean, there's no grounds for Schiff. If you look at him, the stuff he does, and we shouldn't treat him as though he's a serious person. He's a totally partisan liar who happens to have been given a committee chairmanship so he can lie with a semblance of authority. That's all he is.
Mr. Speaker, here is a clip from Inside the Contract with America on Fox Nation. Let's watch this and then talk about it.
Newt lays out for me what they're talking about doing and wants me to give them, I don't know, $150,000 or something like that.
And I'm pitching this idea of a contract.
Newt's big idea was we're going to put an ad in TV Guide. The idea was we're going to put an insert in there about contract with America. And the message is, if you elect Republicans to run the House of Representatives, this is what we pledge we'll do.
It's hard to believe the contract with America was 25 years ago. It was Newt Gingrich's idea. Newt, tell us a little bit about the series on Fox Nation.
Well, look, I'm very pleased both with the Fox Nation version, which is very expanded, and with the special that was run last night on the Fox regular channel. The fact is, what Haley Barbour, who was a key to this whole thing, was describing was a group of people who actually thought you could run a positive campaign. I mean, the contract with America was about welfare reform, cutting taxes, balancing the budget, reforming the Congress. It was a very idea-oriented campaign, the opposite of the junk we're seeing right now. And it was a serious effort. And Haley Barbour, as the Republican National Chairman, helped raise the money for us to buy the biggest ad ever done up to that time. TV Guide back then was the widest read magazine in the country. And those pages in TV Guide were very clear, no pretty pictures. They just said, look, you hire us, this is our contract. If we don't keep our word, don't reelect us. And the result was we gained 53 seats, the first time in 40 years you had a Republican majority, and we then kept our word. And that's what's such a huge gap between the kind of, I think, historically despicable behavior that we're now seeing in the Congress, where they're acting out of pure, vicious, partisan vitriol. And what we did in the contract, which was actually have a set of big ideas, which we were able to work with Bill Clinton. He signed welfare reform. He signed the tax cuts. He signed the only 4 balanced budgets in modern times, because these were ideas bigger than either party, and the American people rallied to them.
Wow. So if we want to go inside the Contract with America series, it's on Fox Nation, available now. It's expanded, it's different, it's better. And that's Newt looking over to the left for us. Thanks, Newt.
All right.
Thanks. Great to see you.
I like that logo.